This is a video showing the strategies and loadouts I used during my solo flawless Vesper's host dungeon completed on a hunter. I'm going to preface this video by saying doing this solo flawless on a hunter is probably the hardest class that you could do this on. I've also run it on a warlock and it was miles easier, and most clears you'll see on YouTube are on Titan. I'm going to have a video up soon about warlock strategies, maybe Titan if I have time, but if you're dead set on a hunter, or if you just want to see how the hardest class does this, this video is for you. First, let's talk about weapons I used and potential replacements if you don't have them. The important weapons that I used were Risk Runner, Leviathan's Breath, Scatter Signal, and Dimensional Hypotrochoid. That's it. Everyone has Risk Runner, and Leviathan's Breath is available from the kiosk. Scatter Signal can be replaced by other kinetic slot fusion rifles, and Dimensional Hypotrochoid could be replaced by any other heavy GL, or if you have it, the Hullabaloo, which is another Waveframe GL, but that's from Guardian games. I did use other weapons during the run, such as the Call, which is a rocket sidearm, and an Eager Edge and Attrition Orb sword, but those aforementioned weapons are the most important ones to use. For my clear, I used 6 loadout slots, and at no point did I swap loadouts in a risky situation. You can do this without swapping any loadouts at all if that's something that you're not comfortable doing. The first encounter I used Gifted Conviction, the second encounter I used Gifted Conviction, and the third encounter I used Gifted Conviction with Celestial Nighthawk. I don't know if you're noticing theme, but Gifted Conviction is something that I used during this dungeon. The loadouts that I used are in the description, and they will also be shown on screen when I explain each encounter that they were used for. We're going to start with the first encounter. Now, I'm going to assume that you have a general understanding of the dungeon and you know how to navigate your way from each encounter to the next. There's nothing special about getting to the first encounter, so I'm going to start straight away with the first encounter. My loadout here is on screen, but the important things here are Gifted Conviction and Risk Runner, and I use an Attrition Orb's sword, but any heavy will work. The encounter is split into 3 separate pathways. There's far left or brain, close left or lungs, and close right or heart. If you're doing the ball dupe, you want to start with the heart room. If you're not doing the ball dupe, you want to end with the heart room. The way I did this encounter, and what worked really well for me, was that every time I had my class ability, I would proc Ascension. Ascension makes me amplified and provides DR as long as I cast it near a target thanks to my chest piece. I use my Hunter's Transcendence with spamming my Threaded Spike and grenades to kill the Brigs, and once the Brig plate was removed, I would then use a Golden Gun to finish the Brig off. Because I used the ball dupe in my solo flawless, I started with the close right room. This is because it's the closest room in terms of distance that you need to cover from the nuclear core to the center. This means that I would be able to dunk the core the quickest, and therefore I would finish the encounter the quickest. Therefore, if you aren't doing the ball dupe, you want to do this side last, as it gives you the most time to kill that big Brig at the end. If you do need to deal with the big Brig, there are a few things that you can do. The first thing you can do is you can swap Risk Runner to Choir of One. You'd need to get special ammo to kill the Brig. But the other thing you could do is you could just make the Brig super weak, let the nuke despawn, and then redo the room, and the Brig will retain that health. That way you can just leave, make the Brig one shot, kill him, and then continue on. The way I would do the rooms is as soon as I received Scanner, I would go straight towards the rooms and kill the Lord of Wolves dregs and then the 2 large dudes. For the large dudes, I used an Attrition Orb sword with recuperation. This meant that I could just sword them and heal their damage outright. I used the Slammer, but Ill Omen would work very well too, and Ill Omen is craftable. You'll see I used Ill Omen in the final boss encounter as well. Once you enter the room with the terminals, there's 2 more of the big dudes to kill. When you enter that room, it's probably a good idea to immediately deposit Scanner and then kill the dudes. Then you want to kill everything else, and then when it's only Shanks left, then you can grab Scanner and start scanning. I labeled each room's panels 1 to 6, and I just knew which 2 panels were the bad ones, so I would shoot the correct one. So I would know it's like 1, 3, 4, and 6 to shoot. After that's done, I would deposit Scanner, grab Operator, and then shoot the panels. Be very careful when you have the Operator buff, because if you shoot the wrong panel, you will instantly die. Especially if you're using something like Unravel, be very careful with the Operator buff. I would grab Operator, amplify myself, and then immediately shoot the 4 panels as quickly as possible. The reason why I would shoot them as quickly as possible is that lowers the amount of risk that there is that I accidentally shoot the wrong panel or something activates the wrong panel. Once the 4 panels are shot, the Operator panels deactivate themselves, so you can just hold on to Operator and you can shoot around like crazy if you want. Once that's done, I would grab the nuke, then I would deposit Operator after grabbing the nuke, and then I would make my way to mid. The quicker you get to mid, the more time you'll have to kill the Briggs. That being said, you don't want to die on the way to mid. So you can do stuff like grapple meleeing and sorting the Duskfield Shanks and the big dudes that spawn in to make it a lot safer. Once you get to mid, I would then cast Transcendence, kill the Brig again, use my Golden Gun to finish it off, and then I would ascend to go invis, and then I would deposit the nuke. Now, if you're doing the ball dupe, you're done here. To ball dupe, once the circle is about 75 to 80% full, you just swap weapons. If you aren't ball duping, you just repeat this for the other 2 sides. You have unlimited time until the nuke spawns, so just play slowly and proc Ascension every time it's available. And for that big Brig at the end, again, if you're really struggling to kill the big Brig and do the nuke in one rotation, all you need to do is spawn in that big Brig, let the nuke despawn, make the Brig one shot, and then get another nuke, and then the Brig is going to stay at one shot, and then that way you can easily kill it like 1 or 2 sniper shots, and then you can deposit the orb. There's nothing special about the first transition I can think of. Just be very careful about integration and the mines that the servitor drops. His melees don't do too much damage to you on normal mode, so the main concern here is dying to integration or the mines. I'm assuming you know the pathway. Don't forget to abuse Invis from Stylish Executioner and Amplified for Speed Booster to move quicker with the nuke. Raynix is a pretty straightforward and easy boss. It's literally add clear, then you press your grenade key, then repeat again, and then you deal damage. Everything here does arc damage, and Raynix will drop mines in mid, so the best place to stand is on the far right and just abuse Risk Runner and proc Ascension every time you have it. Once the first big guy spawns in, use your Silence and Squall Super or Transcendence to kill him quickly because he can slow you down or freeze you. Once you get teleported, the Exploder Shanks are your priority because they will one-shot you. I would spray Risk Runner for the first 5 seconds or so, then swap to the Call and focus the Exploder Shanks. Stay near the back of where you get teleported to, and jump if an Exploder Shank reaches you. Ideally, you have Grapple on, so if needed, you can grapple around the arena in moments of panic. Once all the enemies are dead, the Suppressor Shank spawns in, and you can just place the suppressor in this spot to safely break him without taking damage. Just do it right after he does an attack so that you don't get ran by mines. You can either read the sorter's name or eyes and then repeat. On the second rotation, I wouldn't use my super or transcendence for the big guy so that I knew that I would have it for the damage phase. I would just slowly kill him with Risk Runner or my Rocket Sidearm, or I would use my Waveframe GL. And again, this is because I just want to have those abilities for boss damage. Once you've read all 4 eyes, I would just immediately start damage. To start damage, I would leave a panel that was close to the deposit point for last, so 3 or 7 ideally, if not 1 or 4 or 6. Once I started damage, I would dunk Operator and then run to the Suppressor Shank. I would ascend on the Suppressor Shank to go invis, and while I'm ascending, I would swap loadouts. I can then place Suppressor very safely because I'm invis, and then shoot the clone to start damage. When damage starts, I would cast Transcendence, then cast my Super, then melee for Radiant, and then just spam my Waveframe GL. Hopefully Tether is fixed soon so that you can tether this boss because it will make life so much easier. I was using Silence and Squall instead because I felt it would be the next best super to use. You just repeat this until the boss dies. This boss is pretty straightforward. The only things to watch out for are the Exploder Shanks and the boss when you're using Suppressor. Very straightforward. Wardcliff Coil is another choice that I know some people suggest. Right now, it has the possibility of error coding you, which is why I'm not explicitly suggesting it, but that is an option as well. So the final boss is an absolute mess, and is probably why I would say Hunter is the hardest class to do this on, and that's because Hunter has very little actual survivability in the damage phase outside of Gifted Conviction spam. There's stuff I did during my run to make it a lot easier, but in a solo dungeon like this one, easier equals longer, which is why it took me nearly 90 minutes to do the final boss. Obviously, there are ways that you could speed that up. I think on a hunter, you'd probably 4-phase this boss, which means that it would have only taken me about 40 minutes to do, but still, that's a long time to spend in a boss fight. My strategy here is all about removing radiation from the clones and then using Ascension or Cold Steel to use them to go invis and heal if needed. The big things you need to be careful of in the pre-damage part of this fight are 1, the radiation clones, 2, Hell, or the Red Room, and 3, the Lord of Wolves Marauders, who sometimes have a field day. When the encounter starts, you immediately want to use a melee on a dreg to go invis, and then find Suppressor. Ascend on the Suppressor to kill him and go invis, grab Suppressor, and then break the 2 freaks' shields. Once their shields are gone, kill them and head towards the middle where the boss is, wait like 2 seconds, and then place a new Suppressor clone. The idea for this Suppressor clone is that when the new freaks spawn in, they'll immediately run to that clone, which means there's 0 chance that they radiate you and have the possibility of killing you. Once their shields are stripped, place Suppressor in a terminal, grab Scanner, and scan. Once you're done scanning, kill Operator, grab Operator, and operate. Here, you have a choice. You could choose to grab Operator and dunk it, and then farm enemies with Risk Runner for heavy ammo, which is up to you. Ads will continue to spawn until you're done operating, so you want to play safely while operating, and once you're done operating, no more enemies will spawn, so you can kill those enemies and then locate which side the boss is on using the flashing red lights. Once you're in the bottom, my suggestion would be to grab Suppressor and break any radiation shields you see. The biggest issue in the bottom is getting radiation stacks, so you should drop down and immediately rush to grab Suppressor. There are usually only 4 clones on the map at any given time, and their shields don't regenerate, so if you break their shields, they'll stay broken. Once you break their shields, place Suppressor in the terminal and grab Operator, shoot 3 Operator panels, head near the terminal, shoot the 4th, ascend to get DR, or if needed, kill a clone to go invis, deposit Operator, and then grab Scanner. Run around to find the correct clone, and sword him using your Attrition Orb's sword to kill it. This also heals you, and if you have a Cold Steel roll on Ill Omen, you would also go invis. Grab the nuke, deposit Scanner, and then deposit the nuke. Repeat this for the other side. The Hell or red side is a lot harder than the Heaven or blue side, so be extra careful in the red side. If needed, you can always leave the rooms to heal or gain invis from the nearby Marauders. The only time that you can't do this is when all 4 panels have been shot. For damage, I swapped to Leviathan's Breath, so this is where ammo becomes a huge issue because swapping heavies nukes 50% of your ammo, so at most you'd only have 8 Levi's Breath shots going into damage. So this is where farming heavy ammo at the beginning becomes very important, and fortunately, Risk Runner is an exotic primary that makes Finder Bricks drop a lot more often. Before heading up top, I killed all enemies as well, and if you do happen to kill the Scanner Vandal again because you didn't dunk it, make sure you grab the Augment just to be sure that it doesn't despawn because sometimes that can cause a soft lock. During damage, once you ascend, I would immediately transcend to gain damage resist, and then head to the back left of the map behind this pillar. I shoot Leviathan's Breath at the boss until he teleports, and depending on the lightning locations, I would either stay there or move to the right. You'll experience 2 lightning strikes before he teleports. The first lightning strike will appear approximately 2 to 3 seconds after you land on the ground, and then every 8 or so seconds after that. The way this boss works is puppets, 2 lightning, teleport with puppets, 2 lightning, teleport with mid with puppets, one of which is holding a nuke, 2 lightning, and then he'll do the anomaly with a 7th lightning strike. After the boss teleports for the first time, I would stop worrying about damage at all. At this point, surviving is your top priority. This is the same time that clones start swarming you. So what you want to do here is ascend to jolt a clone, kill the clone with a fusion to go invis, kill the second clone, repeat. Once the nuke spawns, grab it to move close to the door, do any more damage if applicable, then deposit the nuke. If you can't grab the nuke for whatever reason, just drop back down through the middle hole. You don't need to use the nuke to extend the damage phase. You can just drop down and play it safe. Once you deposit the nuke, the rest of the damage phase is easy. fire a mount top shot to weaken the boss, then golding on him, then fire off any remaining Levy's breaths. Once he communes with the anomaly, simply leave and repeat. Here's an example, full phase with commentary so you can follow along. Okay, so I just explained how I did this encounter, but I'm going to walk you through an example, like in real time with me explaining what I'm doing. So I'm going to start off on the right side here. I'll lower your game volume. So I'm going to immediately go invis using that drag. So now I'm invis, and I'm going to find the suppressor. Here's the suppressor. I'm going to ascend on him and kill him. That's going to turn me invis, and then I'm just going to run away, lower my radiation, place my suppressor clone, blow it up, and now I can kill these two. Once they're dead, I'm just going to ascend again, and I'm going to go mid. I'm going to place another suppressor clone. What that suppressor clone is going to do is it's going to drag both of the freaks together, and then I'm going to place suppressor in mid. Placing suppressor instantly detonates my clone, so now I can kill these two freaks, and I'm completely fine. I can ascend again, and now I'm going to grab scanner. I check scanner, and I know that it's 4. I'm going to go invis again, using a grapple melee, and I'm going to deposit scanner. Here's operator. I'm going to kill operator, and you know what? I'm going to farm some ammo, because I'm swapping to Levy's Breath. So I'm going to place operator in the terminal, and now I have the rest of this time. I have infinite time here. I'm just going to sit here behind this cover so that the boss can't see me, and I'm just going to farm enemies. Brick. Now that that's done, I'm going to re-grab operator. You know what? I don't want to get sniped, so I'm going to use my melee to sever a target to go invis. You know what? I'm going to send again. It was 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The boss is going to disappear. You know what? Before I go into a dunk animation, I'm going to make sure every single enemy is dead. Perfect. So now I'm going to look, and I see that hell, or right side, is the active zone. So I'm going to drop down, and I'm immediately going to ascend to give myself invis and some DR. And then I'm going to enter the hell room and immediately pick up suppressor. Now that I've got suppressor, I'm actually going to back up here. I'm going to kill these marauders. I'm going to break the freak shield. So there's one freak shield broken. Here's another freak coming to me. Let's break his shield. So now that's 2. Oh, here's the third one. His shield's broken. You know what? Let's ascend again. You know what? That turned me invis. I have no idea where the 4th one is. So let's dunk suppressor. I'm now going to grab operator. Oh, and you know what? This guy is dealing a lot of damage to me. So I'm going to leave the room. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to go invis using that guy. And now I'm going to shoot these. I'm going to dunk operator. I'm going to kill that guy to go invis. And now I have invis and I have scanner. It is this guy. Let's say it wasn't this guy, though. I would then check top, then I would go to the other sides. I'm going to pick up the nuke. I'm going to deposit scanner. I'm then going to drop down, and I'm going to dunk scanner. Or, sorry, I'm going to dunk the nuke. And now I'm just going to wait. So that's the hard part done. I've done the red room. The red room is hard. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab suppressor. I'm just going to use this because if I come across any freaks, and here's a freak, I can just break their shields on the way and not have to deal with them in the next room. I just run through these mines. You can shoot them if you want, but they won't one-shot you on normal mode unless you decide to stop moving in the middle of one. I'm going to go invis using that marauder, so again, to go invis, I just ascend on it. Oh, and here's another freak. And here's another. Now let's ascend again. Now invis, and now I can dunk suppressor. So I'm also being cautious. I have 12 seconds on suppressor. The last thing you want to do is die to a timer. Now that that's done, I can grab operator. Now this room is awesome. Shoot that panel, shoot this panel, come into like this corner, shoot this panel. This guy's being annoying, so you know what? I'm just gonna kill him. Last panel, shoot that, and then I'm gonna run across and grab scanner. You can actually sword block while picking up scanner, by the way. No. No. Yes. So I'm going to right click heavy with my ill omen, and that's going to kill him and make me go invis. Once you shoot the fourth panel, actually all the doors in here close, so anything in here is trapped in here, anything outside is trapped outside. I'm going to deposit the second nuke, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually swap loadouts. I'm going to swap to a primary of my choice, so I'm going to use this iClose SMG with heavy ammo finder equivalent, or finder. I'm going to swap to Levy's Breath, and then I'm actually going to swap to Void Scav. Then I'm going to head outside. So I have 6 bricks, or sorry, I have 6 heavy shots, which is fine, because I know that I have some bricks upstairs. But you know what? Let's see if we can find a brick here. So I'm going to kill these marauders. I'm going to kill these dregs. I'm going to kill this servitor. And if I wanted, I could go to the other side and kill those, but I'm not going to because I don't need to. And I've got 16 ammo, and I've got 1, 2... finder bricks already on the map for next phase. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter the mode and I'm going to swap loadouts. I'm not swapping to my Celestial loadout. Transcendence, nade, and then I'm going to go behind this pillar right here. Oh, he's lightning me, so I'm going to move to the right side. I'm going to move back left. Now that's 2 lightnings, which means he's going to teleport. So now I'm going to... Ooh, I'm getting bad clone RNG here, but I'm going to ascend on a clone. I'm going to fusion rifle him to death. Middle clones have spawned in, so I'm going to threaded spike. There's 1 down. Ascend. There's the second one down. I'm actually going to pick up the nuke here and move it towards here. And now I have the nuke, so I can actually do a little bit more damage. He's opened up the door. I'm going to enter the door. I'm going to deposit the nuke. Now, I didn't do that much damage, but that's okay. Now I'm going to swap loadouts to my Celestial loadout. And this loadout has a GL on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fire the GL. Fire my Celestial shot, and then just go crazy with Levy's Breath. He's going to teleport here. Teleport to the left. And now, you know what? I'm out, so you know what? Let's swap to a sniper. Once communes with anomaly appears, I'm just going to drop down. Now, the damage is pretty bad. That's okay. It's very safe. That's what matters. That's probably going to be like a 7 or an 8 phase. But that's fine.